Hello, this is Tina. How are you doing today? So let's start, okay? In this video, I'm gonna talk about ViewResolver. Let's review a little bit, okay? As we know, in Spring Spring MVC there are five major components. Like the client is a browser, it's not part of Spring, okay? And we have a dispatcher servlet. And then we have the handler mapping. We talked about handler mapping already when we talk about the interceptor, right? It will resolve a handler chain before it actually go to the controller method. You have a controller, and what else? ViewResolver. And then you have the actual view. When a client make a request, it will go to the dispatcher servlet for all the requests. And dispatcher servlet will pass the request to the handler mapping. Handler mapping actually will find out the URL, and it kind of like have a map there. It will map to particular controller. So here we'll return a controller to that. Handler mapping will do actually more than that. Handler mapping actually will resolve something called the handler chaining. Resolve handler chaining. Handler chain, okay? And before it actually the request processed by the controller, it will go to the interceptors, right? It will go through to your interceptor. And then it will go through. This is a pre-handle method here, okay? Pre-handle. And after the controller method is done, it will go to your interceptor post handle. And if you also override the after completion, it will go through the after completion. Let me don't do this one. Okay. Whatever this part return actually is these whole things. Okay, will resolve the handler chaining, not just directly give you a controller. If you are not clear about this point, you can go to my previous video, find out by the handler mapping, or in the description. How about that? In the description, I'll give you a link, then you can watch other videos about that. So next one is after you have controller, okay, then you will forward the request to the controller, and in the methods of the controller, it will process the request and return the view and model. The view here is a logical name, which means you do not give the location of the actual view. It will, suppose you are using JSP, you will just give the JSP's file name, not the actual location, okay? And then we will have the ViewResolver, and you give the view name. This is the view logical name, and then he will give the actual view. And then the dispatch servlet, we are using the model ask the help for different view engine to render the view. Suppose you are using GSP. GSP by default is supported by Tomcat, so Tomcat will render that. Actually, it will convert to be a servlet class, and it will call the GSP service method. But if you are using Thymeleaf, you have to using Thymeleaf engine to render, using the model to render the view. And whatever is after renders, most likely you will get text HTML, the type, okay, the content type will be text HTML, and the dispatch servlet will response, right? So far in all the videos in the playlist, we will already talk about dispatch servlet, handler mapping, controller, and the view controller. Today we will talk about these two parts. ViewResolver and the view. So first thing you have to be clear, why do we need to have a ViewResolver? Okay, The problem is we have so many kinds of the view technology on the market. You probably heard about the velocity, you heard about FreeMarker, you heard about Thymeleaf, and sometimes if you want to have a JSON, XML, PDF, Excel, we have so many kinds of the views. Support, you have a Spring MVC project and you want your Spring MVC project to support for JSP and Thymeleaf or JSP, XML, JSON at the same time. And if you in your controller, this view returned by the controller is kind of value like this, web INF JSP index.jsp. If the view returned in control is like this value, and think about it. Now you don't want to use JSP, you want to using FreeMarker or you want to using Thymeleaf. Then you have to go back to change your controller code to make the corresponding changes, right? But after ViewResolver, you configured somewhere, there is no need to change the code because you just return index, this logical name in the controller, and there's no change in the controller. You just configure proper ViewResolver, and then you just have the proper views engine. Then the engine will automatically using the model to render the view. So there's no need to change the code. And there are other times if you want support for multiple views in one project, you might run off that. But when you're using hard-coded values, you cannot do that, achieve this kind of requirements. So Spring designed a way which is your views, okay? No matter what kind of view you're using, JSP, Thymeleaf, it's a plug-in and play. You just configure proper ViewResolver. Spring will take care of the rest. So let's take a look at different views, ViewResolver in Spring, okay? It has lots of kinds. We just cover some of them, okay? First one, you see this one a lot if you watched my video before, ViewResolver. Okay, this is one. When we using JSP, right? When you configure for this ViewResolver, it is support for JSP, okay? And also support. Do you remember in the controller you have redirect or forward? Which means in the controller, okay, give one example. In the controller method, like you have a get mapping method in the controller, okay? And let's give slash public string index, or you call home page, it doesn't matter. And here you can return one thing. You can using redirect, right? You can using redirect index, or sometimes you might using forward index. Okay, those are all resolved by InternalResourceViewResolver. Okay. Next one. If your application are actually only needed to using JSP, you don't need to configure ViewResolver. You can just give the actual location to the JSP page. It will automatically be resolved because JSP is supported by default in the Tomcat. Okay. And if you still don't clear what I'm talking about, you can watch my third video, which is set up a Spring MVC project. I mentioned that. Second one, probably if you want to using Apache tiles. Okay, tiles resolver when you want using Apache tiles. Okay, sorry, tiles. This Tiles is a open source framework which is designed to have help you to create a layout for your project. But personally, I'm not that in favor of these tiles because it's kind of very complicated to configure everything together, and it's not as easy as even using plain JSP. I can achieve like the layout, the structure layout for our website. By using tiles, you have to do more configuration, and it's not that easy. Okay, you have to write more code. And the third one, if you want to support for FreeMarker, the marker, okay, MARKER, then you have to using FreeMarkerViewResolver. And if you want to using velocity template, velocity. If I remember correctly, velocity actually exists before JSP actually comes out. Velocity View Resolver. For Velocity View Resolver, if you are using Spring 5, it doesn't support. Okay, because it's really old technology. And the other one, which is very popular now, is called ThymeleafViewResolver. And this is a natural template engine, solve the designer and the developer round-trip problem. Okay, this one should be ThymeleafViewResolver. If you using Thymeleaf, okay, THYME. And in my future lectures, when I will using Thymeleaf instead of JSP to do the Spring MVC project. Okay, and really popular. Okay, and there are others. Suppose 6. Suppose you want to use Spring MVC, which is support for PDF, Excel, okay, JSON, XML. All of them will. Oh my God, I wrote it the wrong place. Okay, sorry for that. And suppose your application want to support for PDF, XML, JSON, Excel. To do that, you have to learn another special view resolver called ContentNegotiatingViewResolver. Okay, this ContentNegotiatingViewResolver, we have to talk about more about this. So let's go through this one. Okay, this one doesn't have the actual ability which will return JSON, which will return PDF, XML, JSON, Excel for you. In the ContentNegotiatingViewResolver, he will do those things. Okay, suppose your client. This is a client. Okay, suppose your client make a call, okay, to your website, and it make /account.json, okay, or it make a call to /account.pdf, and it make a call to /account.xml, or it make a call to /account.excel. Okay, what's gonna do is it won't go to particular view resolver. It will only go to content negotiating or negotiation. I forgot negotiation. Okay, I forgot negotiating or negotiation. Okay, view resolver, and the content negotiating view resolver will not just give the actual value back. What I did is during configuration, in this content negotiating view resolver, you have to register PDF view resolver, you have to register XML view resolver, you have to register JSON view resolver and Excel view resolver. And the content negotiating view resolver will actually according to things to find the actual resolver for you. Okay, so let me first go through suppose here you have a PDF view resolver. Okay, and then you have here XML view resolver, and you have the JSON view resolver. Okay, and you have your Excel view resolver. This is all done in your configuration. Okay, like you do internal resource view resolver, you create those PDF, XML, JSON view resolver. Then in the content negotiating view resolver, you have to register them to tell I have those view resolver. Okay, so now comes. Okay, now comes. So suppose you make a call, this one Excel account Excel, and it will go to your content negotiating view resolver. And in your content negotiating view resolver, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So which one to choose, right? You have 4. Which one to choose to handle this request? Then content negotiating view resolver, it will based on 2 requirements. Based on these 2 conditions to find the actual view resolver handle for this request. First one is according accept header. You know the browser, suppose now you make a call to account. You don't have any extension, right? But if you're using Postman, you can change the accept header. Okay, accept is a request header. You can change here. Suppose you say accept, only accept application XML. Then content negotiating view resolver, it will find you only accept application XML. So it will see, do I have a XML view resolver? If it has a XML view resolver, then he will using this view resolver to render the view. Okay, most likely is you get the values and turn into an XML and return back. This is one. Okay, but in the browser, then you cannot make a change to accept because everything gonna be default, right? Then you can using Postman and other tools to change the accept. And if you're using application JSON here, application JSON, and with this URL, then it's gonna return JSON for you. And content negotiating view resolver say, okay, you only accept application JSON, and he will check, do I have a JSON view resolver? If it find a JSON view resolver, then it will using this view resolver to render the view. Okay, and most likely you will have a null dependency, which is actually convert the object into a JSON. Okay. This is the first way, content negotiating view resolver. Second one, suppose you are using the browser. Browser will form the accept folder, accept HTTP request header for you, right? You have no choice. You have nowhere to change the value. And what you can change is the URL. You can add some extension here, Excel, JSON, PDF, XML. Suppose you say your URL is account.json. He will say, okay, you are expecting I have a JSON returned to you. Then content negotiating view resolver will go to his list to see if you have JSON view resolver or not. If it find, then it will give you a JSON back. If you using account.pdf, and he will say, okay, you are asking for a PDF. So he will check his list. Do I have a PDF view resolver? If it find, then it's gonna return a PDF for you. So that's for content negotiating view resolver. First, content negotiating view resolver don't actually resolve the view for you. It acts like a mediator. Okay, he will get the request what kind of files you need. Then he will find the proper view resolver in his collection. And if it works, he will delegate the work to the actual PDF view resolver or XML view resolver or JSON view resolver. Okay, and I think that's last one. Okay, last one. So we talk about those view resolver. Okay, and in one MVC project, if you have only one MVC project, Spring MVC project, you can use all of the view resolver, and then you have to decide which one go first, which one go second, right? You will need to have order property. Okay, you can specify order property. Like this one will go first, this one will go second, this one will go third, and the content negotiation will go fourth. And you can specify like this. Then suppose in your JSP, let me make a change. Suppose I make a call to here and you return index, this logical name here. Okay. Okay. And the Spring, okay, MVC will try. Okay, I see this order is 0. He will try if you have a template or if you have a actual page which is FreeMarker, like index.ftl, which is a FreeMarkerViewResolver. If it cannot find, it will delegate to the next one. If I can find a tile, if cannot find, it will try the velocity. Find index.vm. If cannot find, it will try order. If all of them cannot find, it will return 404, like a page cannot be found, right? But there's one thing you have to keep in mind, which is InternalResourceViewResolver. Okay, this one is a little bit special. InternalResourceViewResolver, you should give the lowest priority. Okay, the reason for that is, suppose I have a FreeMarker here, right? If it cannot find index.ftl, which is a FreeMarker page, it will forward delegate request to try another view resolver. If tiles cannot find, it will also check, do you have other view resolver? If it has, then it will using the next view resolver to resolve the view. But for the internal resource view resolver, if it cannot find, even though you have other view resolver, it won't delegate to other view resolver. It just immediately return 404. That's the reason you have to give internal resource view resolver as the last choice. Okay, if cannot find, if for other view resolver can find, go to internal resource, and if cannot find, then return 404. Otherwise, suppose you have index.vm and you set this priority order equals -1, which is according to our settings here. This one has the highest priority. And if you have index.vm but you don't have index.jsp, and when you return index, you are immediately using this one, but it cannot find, directly return 404. Okay, that's a problem. So keep your internal resource view resolver as the last priority. Okay, that's it for the view resolver in Spring MVC. And in my next video, I'm gonna show you how to write a code and have a multiple view resolver in one project. Okay. And if you are interested, pay attention to my channel, and see you next time. Bye bye.